lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan.
And I'm Manny.
We're back with another episode of the Weekly Poll. We're going to be talking our favorite books that came out this week. Well, some of them, it was kind of probably the lightest week in a while that I've had.
I only picked up about 4 or 5 books.
Still some good stuff. One of them I was more excited about initially than I was after I read it. That's not to say it was not good, but I wish I got more from it. We'll get into that in a bit. I kind of want to talk Green Lantern first, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it.
Is that cool? I know you didn't read it, but I really liked it. And I haven't really been digging some of the Green Lantern stuff for the most part that they've been doing over the last few years. Kyle Rayner was how I got into Green Lantern. He was my favorite Green Lantern for a long time. I think he still is, even though he doesn't get the shine. I grew to love Hal Jordan a lot because of Jeff Johns. I think that's one of the best runs in the history of comics. I think from beginning to end, it was just one big epic space adventure, and it was dope. I did Green Lantern by Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp. I liked, but it was so different than what I kind of want in a Green Lantern book. And while I could appreciate the craft, and I could appreciate what they were doing something new, doing something different, and there was moments that I really dug. This is more the Green Lantern I like. I like that he's back on Earth. I like that it's not, super convoluted with the entire core. We're getting a more grounded Hal Jordan, which is probably because of the Hard Traveling Heroes that I really like that version. I love that, the opening scene, you have some construction workers and they're trapped underneath, and you just see the glowing green light all of a sudden, right? And then this, dude. So good.
Nice page.
It's so good. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, first off, let me say the creative team, Jeremy Adams, who I've been a fan of. He's been doing Flash. I think he did a great job. I'm kind of upset that his runs being, to me, in my opinion, kind of cut short. I would have liked to see him continue. I thought what he did with Wally, the kids, all that stuff, really good. And then you got Zermanico on the art. My God, dude, so fucking good. And if you haven't been reading Green Lantern, this is a perfect little recap of what's been going on, because I am not super current on what was going on with the core. It says how the United Planets seized control of the Green Lantern Corps because the Guardians of Oa disappeared. The United Planets declared Sector 2814 an unsafe liability to the universe and have reassigned the Earth Lanterns to other sectors. The true motivation behind this hostility remains a mystery. Furious at this turn of events, one Lantern has quit in protest, returning to Earth to start his life anew. Great. It gives you everything you'd want with a Hal Jordan Green Lantern. You got Carol Ferris, you got Green Lantern making this splash. She finds out he's back on Earth because she sees him on the news. And of course, her secretary buzzes her phone and says, "You have somebody here to see you." Who the fuck do you think it is? Obviously, it's Hal Jordan with this cocky little pose standing in front of his car, and just
with a fighter pilot attitude,
with his usual charm. And she's like, "Hal, we're not going through this. We're not doing this again." It's like, I'm just looking for a job. I'm just a pilot looking for a job. And he's like, maybe I'd love to talk to you about it over dinner. And I just think that Jeremy Adams is clearly a fan of these characters. I knew it from the minute I read his Flash, and I knew it two pages into his Green Lantern. And I think it is such a great jumping on point. I've been saying it. You've been saying it about the dawn of DC. This is the most DC books you've had in a while. I'm finally back at my normal number of DC books, because I've always had more DC than any other publisher. DC
easily over 10 years since I've been reading this much DC. I want to say
so. DC
way well before the New 52 stuff. That's kind of what put me off for a while.
Yeah. So I've always loved DC. DC's always, I've never really given up. Even New 52, I stuck with a lot of stuff longer than I probably should have. But over the years, it's it felt kind of directionless. I like that they're starting to give shine to some of the lesser known characters. I don't want to say lesser tier, but we're starting to see these miniseries jump up. We're starting to see them expand the line, give new characters coming in, right? I was very excited when this book was announced, because I haven't been reading Green Lantern in a while, and this book didn't disappoint. The art is beautiful, just phenomenal. I mean, and of course, you got them in the fighter jets and stuff. And
DC's been kicking ass with all the artists lately.
And especially with Top Gun being so popular, I think it's kind of funny that this is back to what they're doing. But yeah, and there's obviously, he's fighting this villain who I've never heard of, but that's unimportant. But then, just like pages like this, dude, this is what I want to see, man. I love that he's back on Earth. I'm fine with Green
Yeah.
Lantern being in space, but there has to be a balance because then it's like he has no personal life. His life is only a Green Lantern, and it
Yeah.
takes away from who Hal Jordan is. And then you got a great backup story by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and Montos is the artist who I've never heard of prior to this, but this is a story that's focused on John Stewart. It jumps into it. It says another universe, another time, and you have like an old Guy Gardner with like
Hmm.
white hair, and stuff like that. So, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a mystery with that. I'm fine with backup stories when they're good and when they make sense. This is one that makes sense, so I'm cool with the price point being $4.99. I think this is like a strong first issue. If you haven't been reading Green Lantern in a while, if you maybe didn't dig the last run, you're looking for something more, in line with. I'd say this is closer to Jeff Johns' run, and I think it's just phenomenal. It was my favorite book this week.
I'll have to go back and pick it up
You
because I do
should
love Green Lantern.
you should pick it up.
I wasn't super familiar with any of the creative because I haven't been reading Flash, and I hesitated, but what you just showed me pretty much kind of sold me, and I do like the idea of Hal being more of a maverick. Like that's a cool aspect of him, like the cocky pilot,
Yeah.
like
Well, Jeremy Adams, dude, like I said, he's been doing great on Flash. Him and Tim Sheridan both come from animation,
okay.
doing the DC animated films. So
Oh,
like,
so yeah, so
so
they have a
they
history with the
love
character.
DC. Yeah, I mean, dude, if I have an interview with Jeremy Adams for anybody listening and watching, that I did prior to his Flash run, and dude, like just talking to him, he's one of us. You know what I mean? Like, and it was
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
cool to like see him kind of like be so passionate about it. And so he got me hyped for Flash. And I definitely would love to have him back on if he's, Jeremy, if you hear this, hit me up. Let's get you back on, talk some Green Lantern, dude, because I'm very excited for this book. Like I haven't been this excited about a Green Lantern book in a while. So
Yeah, so we've all been waiting for it for a while. We got Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, to be specific, number 25, and this is the story that we've been building towards for 2 years now. We finally get a lot of reveals in this issue. I'm sure you're going to agree with that, So we
yeah,
we finally get an explanation as to how long Mary Jane was stuck in that that alternate dimension compared to Peter. We finally learn how those kids became her family. They're not really her kids, now we know that now.
spoiler
Spoiler alert.
alert. Yeah,
But I mean, she's been raising them for years. Another spoiler alert. So in a sense, yeah, I mean, like there's bonds being formed. So some unexpected turns that I didn't expect, which I was pleasantly surprised, and I thought the issue was like super intense. I mean, this whole run of like the last 3-4 issues has been very intense. Like it gets more compressed as each issue goes along, and it kind of reached the boiling point. And I was very satisfied with what we saw. How about you?
this is the one I told you about. I was expecting more, but didn't quite get what I was looking for.
Really? I mean, I get that, but I think
Look,
that there's still
well,
fallout to be.
let me defend my
Yeah,
opinion. First of all, Zeb Wells, great writer.
yeah,
Very well written book. I'm not saying that this book wasn't well written. I think it was a great book. I just personally was like expecting something different. And Kari Andrews doing the pages of when Mary Jane is stuck in this other world,
yes.
phenomenal. John Romita
That
Jr.
that was my favorite, one of my favorite things because I
That
mean
was that was my
we did
favorite thing.
Spider-Man right. Yeah, Kari Andrews is for both of us
So
one of our
yeah, I mean,
favorite
just
writers.
like you got scenes like this, just
Yeah,
fucking great. And then just showing Mary Jane is just a complete badass right here,
yeah. Like
like
I got
Sarah
Sarah Connor
Sarah Connor, yeah.
vibes. Yeah,
So
totally.
look,
I was like,
I
bro, Mary Jane got swole. Look at that shit.
she's stuck
Like
with this dude in the what is his name?
Paul.
Paul. Okay. So she's stuck with Paul in this world after obviously like if you haven't been reading this and you haven't seen the episodes where we talk about it, Mary Jane's stuck in this other world. Time runs differently there. Spider-Man got sent back because Mary Jane like hit something on his chest, like this totem thing. He comes back to Earth and he's rushing to get back to her because he knows time is going differently there based on how much time passed when he came back. So this is the issue where we see how much time is going. Eventually, we find out it's been like 4 fucking years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that's pretty
At
crazy.
least.
But
Yeah.
the kids who I assumed, and I'm sure I'm not the only person assumed,
Yeah,
was actually Mary Jane's like blood kids. I was kind of hoping for something a little bit like more shocking in terms of like I would have even like I'm not saying I wanted them to be this dude Paul's kids, but even that, like I feel like if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna tease us like that, just go for it. Just do it. Like that's my
I get it.
opinion.
I mean,
Um
we still haven't found out who they're just random kids at this point, right? Or so we're led
okay,
to
yeah,
believe.
so maybe look, maybe there
Yeah,
is something more,
that's what
but
I'm
it
saying.
it just seems weird. Like now as I'm looking at it, could they somehow be clones of Mary Jane and Peter Parker too with their DNA? Like maybe that's something. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so I don't know. They hype this issue so much, and like,
I
yes,
I
it
do see what
is.
you mean. Like, I think that they're gonna sort of in the fallout probably like tie up a lot of loose ends. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe yeah, you're right. We probably would have needed a
Mm.
little bit more of a resolution than we got in this issue.
Yeah, because dude, look, I
I
mean,
would agree.
again, like it was a beautifully drawn issue, well
Yeah,
written. I love it. I mean, and I might be one of the only people that feels that way, but I'm just like, I needed more of the mystery of the kids to come through other than just saying, well, they were there and now we've basically adopted them. Yeah, the fact that, but the emotional gut punch of like her telling Peter, like, no, like I'm not leaving him. That
yeah, I
hurt,
really love that. Yeah,
that
that was a
fucking
good
hurt
moment.
me. That hurt me, dude. I was like, oh my God, dude, like that hit me right in the fucking gut when I read that. And like him trying to kiss her and she's like pushing him away, or they're sitting in the hospital and stuff like that, and she's like explaining, she's like, well, the rest because you came and saved me. So it's like literally that's what was happening. They were sitting in the hospital and she was recanting the entire story of what happened. She's like, a lot of time passed, like I didn't know if I was ever going to see you again. Can you fault Mary Jane? No, not really, right? Like I mean, at a certain point, how many years are you gonna like be like, okay, he's still coming, like,
Yeah, yeah.
like
After
it's
about a year, I would say most people would be like, I mean, like something could have happened, like
yeah, this is my life now, right?
yeah.
Kind of thinking that. So that was pretty interesting. I don't know
I
about
like
you.
seeing Peter interact with like the Fantastic
That's what
Four
I
again
was
and
gonna
Captain
say.
America. Yeah, that was a really good scene too. Like you can see Peter's still angry and like super messed up.
Him punching Johnny and his hand being aflame.
Yeah.
You know what but I think the best part of that for me was Cap ripping Peter out of the fight and
Yes.
telling them to let him go and
Yeah.
saying that he talked to MJ and he understands, you know? And then he tells them we're leaving and they're like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "He was in a bind. We got to trust him to see his way out of this however long it takes." This is why Cap is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Now, I just found out that Cap is probably going to be relaunched because the creative teams that are on the Cap books are leaving. I wouldn't mind a little Zeb Wells Cap. just
Yeah,
just for these
that's
couple
yeah.
pages, I wouldn't mind a little Zeb Wells Cap. I don't want him to leave Spider-Man, but I don't know. It's rare when you can get like that feeling of a character when they're only in the comic for a couple panels. You know what I mean? But like to me, these are some powerful panels.
I mean, who knows? There's an ad for number 26 and Cap's on the cover there, so maybe Cap's gonna become a more regular supporting character in this for Peter.
Now we better
I
get some
will,
crazy shit next issue, dude, because like they've also been hyping 26, like some shit's gonna go down. I mean, look, the cliffhanger with this villain that we've been following, like we still don't know the resolution with him, so
no.
there is still stuff that needs to be resolved. I don't know. I really I wanted those kids to be Peter's kind of. But
Yeah.
like, and I think it would have almost been more gut wrenching if she was like, they're yours, but like he's been raising them. Like he's
Yeah.
their dad. Like, could you imagine Peter having to just like be okay with that? Like,
Yeah.
because like otherwise you're telling these kids who have been raised by this man for 4 years and
That this is your real father.
yeah, and like you're gonna rip them from him like that. That would have been some like the best writing, and that would have been like putting Peter through some of the most gut wrenching heartbreak. But obviously, I don't think we would have seen the Peter we've seen the last few months with like rolling around Felicia. He would not be so happy go lucky, So
When
But
speaking of which, I did like the little backup story.
yeah, dude, Rainbow Roll on writing and Alvaro Lopez. Yeah, dude, I love Rainbow
What a nice
Roll's
little
writing.
surprise. Yeah, and like again, nice contrast. To the story which is read. This is like a nice little done in one, like fun, like old Parker Luck story.
Yeah,
Those never get old. Beautiful pages, man.
I love this, dude. I don't ever see them put the mask on that. The way he's like stretching it over his
This
face.
this whole sequence is really cool.
Yeah,
Like it's just very clean and very classic. Like just I love images, just simple images of Spidey doing his thing.
it's just a
It's
bit,
a
and at the end, you look like you took a dirt bath.
yeah,
She's such a great writer, dude. I don't know if you've been reading the
yeah,
She-Hulk
I
at
love
all.
her writing too.
Have you
And
read She-Hulk?
like no, I haven't. It's good.
You should pick up the first volume. That'd be a great episode to kind of go over with you.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Yeah,
I love She-Hulk as a character, and
yeah, same.
and I love her the way she writes Black Cat. They should give her a Peter and Black Cat series or a miniseries, honestly.
Yeah, I'd be down for
Just
that.
based on this alone. My next book is going to be Nemesis #5, the last issue in the current Nemesis Reloaded series by Mark Millar and Jorge Jimenez. So basically, if you haven't been reading it, they Mark Miller like sort of relaunched her in his own words into the title, Reloaded Nemesis, kind of tweaked it, like gave it a little bit different an origin, and just did a new series, and it's been great so far. Jorge Jimenez killing it on art. But as fun as the series has been, this last issue has to be my favorite. Like some of the art is fantastic. I have the digital version here, but just like some of the colors,
He's
like
one of the best artists too in the biz, dude.
I mean, look at that shit, dude. You know what I mean? Like, just the colors really pop. Like, there's some real energy in this issue, because this issue is very action packed. Like a lot of it was sort of setting up to what we're gonna find out in this issue, and I don't want to spoil it. I spoiled it to you before we
Yeah,
recorded.
my God.
But
All I'll say is like, look, I've been waiting for. I was trade waiting this particular one because I don't have the original miniseries anymore. I don't know what happened to it, so I have the trade. So I wanted both trades on the shelf, but yeah, I did tell Manny to spoil it for me because I just kind of wanted to know. And my God, dude, my God,
yeah,
Mark Miller,
so
dude, like what? It's crazy.
it connects. We all know that Mark's been advertising this big game series coming out in July, I believe it is, which is gonna
Yeah, July
crossover,
19th.
yeah, crossover all his properties. I mean, he mentioned it slightly in our video that we when we interviewed him. So check that out. Really good
Mhm.
interview. And I think this is what we're starting to see. That's all I'm going to say is Nemesis 5, I think, is going to be very important when it comes to big game, as far as like planting some of the seeds. And if it's any indication as to where the rest of the properties might be going, I'm all on board. And like it's like a clever sleight of hand that Mark has pulled off, man. I mean, like you said earlier before we were recording, like he's so good at doing that.
Mhm.
Like he's so good at bringing pieces together in like a very good way, and like he's very good at like the oh shit he did that. You know what I mean? Like you just right under your nose, man. And it just shows you like how much he loves comics, because this is the only kind of thing that can be pulled off in this medium, and
Mhm.
he's done it really well. So, I mean, definitely when Nemesis gets collected, and hopefully soon, I'm guessing they'll want to collect it before July so that people can catch up.
I would
And what I'm
imagine
thinking
maybe
is,
Image usually is good about that too. The trades usually
yeah.
come out the month after the last issue.
So please pick it up. You're gonna love it. I mean, if you're a Jorge Jimenez fan, he's doing career level work here. I mean, just look at like this page too, man. Just like the bland down there, like it's really good, man. And this could have easily just been like oh well, let's just put Nemesis back out there so that like the property is out there because I want it to be relevant. No, to me this seems like very essential and probably very important to what Miller is trying to do with all his comics in the next few months. So don't sit on it, man. This has been a great series. It ends amazingly, and this is probably the best issue. So that's all I want to say. Look at that, dude. Getting half his head cut off. I mean, there's so many cool things about this issue that I love. And I hope it makes Nemesis a much bigger character for him on the level of like Kick-Ass and the Kingsman and all this kind of stuff, because Nemesis is definitely a cool concept.
I just can't say enough how excited I am for Mark Miller stuff. I definitely think that we should like start maybe doing some of the books, like that he's done, especially leading up to Big Game. I think that would be
Yeah,
fun to do. I mean, they're all pretty short reads. I just because dude, like I said, and you mentioned that I said it before we recorded, he is so good at doing those holy shit, what the fuck kind of moments,
yeah,
and all of his comics, and like they are some of the most fun comic books you'll read. Like
yeah. He's
people,
very good at understanding like when to hit certain narrative beats that make the story just propel, and like he's one of the best storytellers out there, man. And
agreed.
that's important. Like you can be a great writer, but like being a great storyteller is almost a different skill set, I think. And
Hmm.
he has both.
Yeah.
Like he has, he's great at the concept, great at executing them. And
I
it's
mean,
it's great, man.
shit, he's so good that he has a second book in this
I
episode.
was gonna
So,
say it's like like what a
so
yeah, it's like
So also this week was Ambassadors 4, which it has been coming out so fast. I feel like it's every other week. I maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like
it
we're
is. I
always
think it's got to be twice a month
I feel like
easily.
we're
Yeah.
always talking about this book and not in a bad way. I'm not mad about it,
No.
but the art has been phenomenal. Different artists each issue. We had Frank Whiteley, we had Carl Kerschel, we had Travis Charest or Cheris, however I
I think it's Charest.
yeah. And now we have Olivier Coipel.
Dude, I mean, beautiful issue, beautiful artist. I loved his work, and
So good.
I mean, he's done everything. He's done X-Men. He did the Adam Strange series, right?
Are you talking about like back in the 2000s? That's Pascal
Yeah.
Ferry.
Oh, Pascal Ferry. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I was confusing it too.
Um, yeah, this is a great book, dude. Like, but it's weird because it's like it's not necessarily so each one obviously like we talk about ambassadors, it's you got different superheroes getting powers with these bracelets from different countries, and their code name is always whatever country they're from. So we got code name
Right.
Brazil here. He's a priest. I would not expect that, but he didn't ask for it, right? Like
His congregation did. Yeah.
yeah, crazy, dude. But then we also have her name's Dee Dee.
She's an enforcer for like well, not an enforcer. She's part of the local police who like in an effort to, and this is all steeped in real life things going on around the world, like in Rio de Janeiro. Like the drug dealers were going out of control and taking over, and then like the police comes in, washes them out, but basically the police just become like the latest sort of like gang, if you want to call them that, controlling everything. So there's still a lot of corruption and things aren't where they're supposed to be, which is where the story sort of like takes its launching point. It's like this priest is sort of caught in the middle here, trying to do good, and then like he's dealing with the cops, but he can also see how fucked up and corrupt they are. So, but yeah, you're right. We have Didi here, who is like sort of like a friend of the priest, but then like at the same time she's working for the cops, so it's really difficult.
I want a book just with Dee Dee in it.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, what's gonna happen? Because obviously, like it seems like each issue of the ambassadors has also been like the putting together the team. So we might get more of Didi if we actually see the team together towards the end. But yeah, dude, she's a great character, and the
Yeah.
conflicts that she has are really fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah, this is just another great issue. I mean, this book is kind of like very similar each issue to issue, but then we also get these like interactions. Like while we start off with the pastor being one of the new ambassadors, we also get something kind of different at the end.
Yes,
And I don't want to spoil it.
the structure for this one was a little bit different because like I don't like you say you want to spoil it, but it doesn't end up like you really think it will in how
Yeah.
it starts.
This series is coming out so quickly that like, and I think that there's like all these printings and stuff that people could catch up quick. So I just don't want to like give too much away. But
Yeah,
yeah, things are starting to kind of build together. Like each issue, like while we get these like close, I don't want to say close-ups, but like this focus on each individual new code name, blah blah blah, which is code name Brazil in this issue. We also like the main narrative is being moved forward as well.
yeah.
Kind of getting us to where I think this will end up. Now, will this go forward from here? I don't know. Like, is this going to be just kind of those one and dones, or are we going to get spin-offs from this? Like, what is like the overall goal with this book?
I mean, I think he's gonna tie this into big game, obviously, and like from what I told you before, I could see where this concept might be going, and like why it's being done. So, and if all this has been leading up to big game, I mean, this is a pretty clever trick of putting all these things together and great planning. And another great thing about this series is that it's obviously been an idea he's had forever because, like, we talked about it when we covered the Travis Charade issue that one took years to do. So, like, this isn't a concept he's just been pumping out recently. I think he's been sitting on this one for a while and trying to find the perfect artist, and that's something else that's special. Is like,
Yeah.
each of these artists is doing so good, and I think it's because he's paying them well and giving them the time they need to make the comic work like the way it should.
I know. I
You
wonder
know,
the way they've been made though.
I think they're
Like
probably all in the pan already. I would imagine.
yeah, like how like were certain ones started earlier than others? Like obviously he could have the script done whenever, but
Yeah.
like how long have some of these been done and waiting on like other
All these are
artists?
things we can ask him because he
I
did say
know.
he wanted us to talk to him the week of big game. So like
Yeah, so I'm very
we
excited about where this book is going. I love this
yeah.
little thing he did too, the top 50 stores ordering
I
the
love
books.
that, man. I think that it just shows his love for the medium on all the levels, like his respect for the retail aspect of it, which is as important as the creators, like local comic shops are vital, and
Yes.
he's I mean, that more than anybody. You worked at one,
I
like
work
that,
at
yeah.
this one right there,
I was
Catcher's
gonna say,
Paradise.
yeah, I saw your shop there,
That's
so I was
right.
like,
That's
fuck
right.
yeah.
Fucking A, dude.
No shop in Florida, sadly.
You got his daughter drawing this.
Yeah, I love that too. Just like his daughter introduced the videos on his podcast, like
Yeah,
it's
those are so funny, dude.
it's very endearing, and
Yeah.
it endears you towards him, and you get to see that like at his heart, he's just another like nice old fanboy, just like us, like
Yeah, dude. And then look, I love this. We're gonna get the code name Britain too. I like
yeah,
that. I
dude.
like this older dude. Like, I don't know. I'm very excited for this book to I don't want it to be over, but I'm excited to see like what is gonna come from the conclusion to this book. Because like
And who draws the next issue? Matteo
Buffon
Buffon,
and maybe the G
Buffoni, yeah,
silent. I
it
don't
might
know.
be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to I try not to butcher
I mean,
people's names
I'm
too
not
much.
really familiar with him, but like,
I recognize the
damn,
name, I just don't know from where. Not
I
like
think that's
not as
Australia,
recognize.
actually. No.
Is it Australia? Maybe. Okay, I'm probably wrong. I just saw the flag. I didn't like analyze it too much.
I think the Australian flag incorporates like the Union Jack somehow because they were a colony at one point. But
Yeah,
the koala bear,
you'd think the koala bears would be a standout for me. Wow. Well, there you go. It's very early in the morning where I am.
yeah, it's
Manny's
fine.
been
I would
up
have made the
longer.
same mistake. I think I did until I was just looking at it. I was like, wait, that's a fucking koala bear. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I've been loving the ambassadors and like surprisingly, because I mean, I love Mark Millar, but like I was really sort of focused on the return of Nemesis and all this. Like I was on the fence about ambassadors, but once I jumped in, dude, it's really been one of my favorite books the past few months, and like every issue we've covered. So it's definitely a fantastic series, and unique in its execution. And this issue is no different, man. Fantastic issue.
I'm all on board with anything Mark
Yeah,
Millar's putting out now. And another great week of comics. There is so
yeah,
much coming out next week, though, and it is going
yeah.
to be hard. We've already talked about it, like just trying to decipher what to pick, what not to pick. We may even do six picks. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff coming out next week. A lot of stuff to be excited about. This was a great week. I
Yeah.
like when it's a small week, but that there's really still
Good
really
books.
good stuff in that small group.
Yeah, and there's other good stuff that came out like that we didn't cover. Like I
Yeah,
picked up
like
something epic,
yeah, I
which
picked up
was
this
great.
Spirit World by Alyssa Wong. I can't pronounce the last name or
The new
the
issue of Cosmic Ghost
artist.
Rider was a lot of fun. I picked up the
Yeah,
last issue of Wildcats by the Matt Rosenberg run.
sure.
I
Yeah,
haven't read that yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of great issues, and you guys got to remember, like we only cover a few that we bought that we really really love. There's other stuff that we just don't have the time.
yeah.
Not these
It'd be a
videos would be like
3 hour
2.
episode.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
nobody wants that. But
nobody wants
yeah,
that.
man, I mean, it's been another great week for comics, and like, we're heading into I think a good summer. We've got some good big events coming up with Big Game, and then we have like the Ultimate the Return of the Ultimate Universe that Brian Hitch is doing over at Marvel. So I think it's going to be a great summer for comics.
I might even start reading Star Trek comics.
I
There's
might
a
too, man.
crossover. There's a
Like,
crossover coming out this summer. I mean, not to, I'm working at IDW now, so like I'm reading this
yeah, yeah.
some of the stuff, but like it looks good. Like some of the
You're gonna
stuff
have
that
to
like,
tell me that off the record because I'm a big Trekkie and like I've been on the fence for some of IDW's Trek books,
but yeah, like there's just so much stuff to be excited about. Stuff that was teased in our free comic day episode that we talked about. Like some stuff coming out
yeah,
this summer, like the new Conan book, the DC crossover, Night Terrors. Like I am just, it's so cool to always like to be able to stay hyped about the comics that come out. Like this is
yeah.
why I've never like kind of got out of comics, because somehow, some way, there's always good stuff coming out. There's never been
I
a time
agree.
in my life where I thought there's no good comics. Hope you guys pick up some of the books we talked about. Come back next week when we talk about our new picks, and follow Manny on social media. His links will be down below. Comic Lounge links down below as well. Hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
We'll see you next week, guys.